Sir Iain Duncan Smith, who's supporting Liz Truss. Well, firstly, you must be delighted with the result.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Our candidate, Liz Truss, put on 27 extra, which was the biggest growth of all of the three candidates. And she's through now to the round with the public, to the members. So that's very good news. She's fought a very good campaign. I'm sorry the others have fallen out. We're all Conservatives at the end of the day. I hope we'll all come back together again and just get on with government as and when whoever wins the final round.
You just say there that we're all Conservatives, we need to kind of pull together. And Beth Rigby was just making the point that I guess Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak have really been getting stuck into each other a little bit in those TV debates. Whoever wins is going to have, in her words, a hell of a job turning it around.
We always say that. I've done 7 of these, won 2 and won 1 myself. And everybody always says, will you come back together again? And almost always, we come back together again. I mean, these debates are big debates, and I think the public has a right to hear them. What are you going to do about helping people who are suffering from the cost of living crisis? Should we get taxes down? Do we need to have such high taxes? I don't think so. These are big debates that the public needs to see us and recognise we're passionate about. And we may disagree on some of these things, but at the end of the day, we have one purpose. All Conservatives want to get the basic tax down. The question is, when do you do it?
But you also will acknowledge, as you know, you are a veteran, if you like, of some of these debates, that there have been personal attacks. I mean, you, for example, have been, told me about Penny Mordaunt, what she's done for the last few years. We've seen Lord Frost, for example, questioning her competence. There have been, clearly, attacks made.
Well, they're not personal attacks. If you ask, I want to know. I mean, I judged everybody on what their record was in government over 2.5 years. You had 2.5 years to deliver Brexit, get things done. Who did the most? Who actually managed to get those across the line? And I went to Liz Truss because she had the strongest record on it. My question about Penny Mordaunt was, I don't know what she's done. She needs to be clearer about what her successes and failures were. How did she battle things over? That's all. So that's a reasonable question. That's not an attack on anybody.
Do you think the tone of the debates will soften in the months ahead over some of them?
Well, I think they'll be. They're going to be tight because it's a very important job, and the direction of the party and the country will depend on who wins it. So my view is that they will be quite fierce, but I don't think they're going to get personal. I don't think I would advise everybody. Policy, yes. Debates about how you do stuff, but stay off the personal stuff.
On the policy, though, we now have 2 very, very different visions of how the UK should be run on the ballot paper, don't we? We have Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, and if you look at everything from taxation to spending, we can't be ending up with 2 very different visions of Britain.
Well, there are differences, but they're differences really of emphasis and of timing. Even Rishi Sunak says he wants to bring taxes down, but he doesn't believe you do it now. I disagree with him. I think he's got the headroom to do it. Liz believes that. There are economic commentators out there that actually agree with us and some that agree with him. This is a serious debate to be had because people's lives depend on what we now do. And so I think these are legitimate debates. The whole Conservative Party wants to bring the base of taxation down. The question is when and how you do it, which is what's going to be debated.
What I do want to ask you now is that the next Prime Minister is going to be decided by Conservative Party members, somewhere between 160,000 or 200,000 people, right? Whoever wins, should they not call a general election so they then have a mandate to implement their vision, which, as we know, is going to be quite different from the manifesto of the last election?
No, because we don't have a presidential system here. So we have a parliamentary system. The Prime Minister is only the leader of the party while he holds their confidence. We've had this going down hundreds of years where they don't hold their confidence, they have to go, and somebody else who has the confidence of the political party that was elected, in this case the Conservatives, has a right to see out that term. So I don't think a general election is either wanted or warranted. What we need to do is go to the next period for 2 years, have the election then, people can judge us on what we've done. After all, we lost 2.5 years because of the COVID crisis. Now we have to get those things sorted out. It'd be madness to go to an election. I know some people will say, no, an election at all. People want elections all the time, some people, but the answer is we need stability right now, and that's what this is all about.
How concerned are you that as the country faces a cost of living crisis, there's a war in Ukraine, and now we really have a bit of a vacuum in August as Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss slug it out?
Well, there's lots that can be done right now by the government, still run by Boris Johnson. There's huge things they've got on their agenda they can do, and there's lots they can do to help people out in the meantime. This debate will come to fruition at the end of August, and what will happen is a new administration but now with a different type of energy and focused on the things that we want. The decisions about taxation are what this is really all about. How do we make the most out of Brexit, get the regulations down, get the base of taxation down, get the economy growing? We mustn't have this economy go into recession. It would be an utter disaster with high interest rates. So that is where we go. Now that's a debate worth having, and I certainly am looking forward to it.
Just to talk about high interest rates, you blame Rishi Sunak partially for.
I blame the government of the Bank of England really, because I think they took their eye off the ball. They were printing money a year ago, which was ridiculous and inflationary, and they didn't do interest rates. Do I blame the Treasury? In part, because they shouldn't have signed off on the explosion of QE which took place. It should have been stopped. But these are judgment calls. They'll all come up in the course of the debate.
Just finally, it was really quite tight at the end, wasn't it, between Liz Truss and Penny Mordaunt? Can you give us a bit of an insight into what the last kind of 24 hours has been like, hustling up support?
Well, here you see everybody face to face. So everybody who is not sure would have been seen. They might have been seen by Liz Truss or by Penny Mordaunt or by Rishi Sunak. And then one by one they decide what they're going to do, and they do it. Some people don't always tell you the truth. Most do. And that's how it is. So it's been a hard graft. And I think Liz was always coming from behind. She put on 27 votes, which is a very significant proportion, and is now in round two. And I think that's great, because it means we have a proper debate now.
Okay, a proper debate, certainly. Iain Duncan Smith, thank you very much for your reaction there. Iain Duncan Smith, former leader of the Conservative Party.